Okay, well, let's move on. We've got, besides the NBA, there is something big coming on this week.
It's just a little big.
And
it's actually the most viewed game.
Before it happened?
Well, it's the most viewed game every year. It's
okay.
TV-wise.
I thought you were predicting the most viewed game.
Well, it will be. It gets bigger every year.
That's true.
So it will be the most viewed Super Bowl.
Oh, my gosh. So you've got the Eagles. You've got the Chiefs.
Yep.
You've got, what is it? This is a huge game.
This is what's kind of funny. This is the Chiefs. If the Chiefs win this, they'll have a three-peat.
Yeah, who's this bigger for?
And they'll have won 4 Super Bowls against 2 different teams.
Yeah.
And they've revenged them twice.
Yeah,
or they've avenged them twice.
So that's the question. Who is this bigger for? The Eagles and the players in the franchise for the Eagles? Or the Chiefs and the players for the whoever wins this game? Who would this actually impact more?
This is the thing, is if Mahomes loses this.
Yeah.
We've seen Mahomes lose before.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a first.
Right.
Okay, so we can take that out of the way.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady lost more than one.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Mahomes lost one. Tom Brady's lost more than one. Obviously, I think a lot of people would be disappointed to not have the three-peat.
Yeah.
Because of how historic that event would be.
Mm-hmm.
But let me say this. I don't think people are going to think less of Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, the Chiefs, and Travis Kelce if they did lose.
That's true.
I think a lot of people will actually just applaud them for making it back.
Yep.
Because that's never been done before.
Yep.
So as far as their history goes, I think this would be a step for one of the greatest things of all time. But I don't actually think it hurts their careers in general because they're going to have other chances at the Super Bowl. Like Patrick Mahomes is nowhere near the end of his career. He's going to play in another Super Bowl. I think he's proven himself enough to us at this point that we would believe that he's going to play at least in one more Super Bowl. At least.
Yeah.
And that's saying he could play in 3 more.
Yeah.
So I think at this point in time, yes, it's huge to go for a three-peat. But as far as the players' careers, I don't think it really matters as much. That being said, I just think that this is actually going to be a bigger monumental moment for just the careers of the Eagles players specifically. You got to think of like Jalen Hurts. He wins his first Super Bowl. Now he's one of 3 quarterbacks to lose their first Super Bowl and make it back. He now has the opportunity to win his Super Bowl, which I think only John Elway has done in the current Madden era. So that would be pretty historic for him to go back and win. And I think for his career, it would probably silence a lot of the doubters for Jalen. You know, it's hard because he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the first Super Bowl, right? But no one gives him credit for that. No. In fact, they actually use it against him now when they talk about him, which is crazy to me that you would outplay one of the best quarterbacks in our era currently. And they go, oh, well, he only ever played good once, and that was against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. What do you want the guy to do? But this is the thing. It would be good for Jalen Hurts to be able to win it for his career. It's gonna set a tone. There's gonna be an expectation that comes with that. And then I think like for Nick Sirianni, that would be huge for his coaching career. He's already done a pretty good job, and I think just to be able to put a Super Bowl under his belt. The Eagles would then have played in 3 Super Bowls in the last less than 10 years. And they will have won twice. So that's another thing. So, I mean, it's just, I think for the players, or like Brandon Graham, this could be his last game. He could be going in retirement after this. He's actually going to play. He's coming off
Cool. That's awesome.
Torn pec to play. And then like Lane Johnson might call it quits after this. Now, is he talking about it? I think he has tons of playing career left. Yeah. But every player wants to end on top. Yeah. And Lane's played enough to where he could say, I'm ready. Yeah. Right? I don't know. I think this is probably bigger for the careers of the Eagles players than it is the Chiefs players.
Sure.
But is it bigger for the teams? I don't know. I think for Kansas City, to win 3 in a row is massive.
I mean, so what this does is I'm looking at this and I'm thinking you got Mahomes would be tied with Joe Montana if he wins. Yeah. So now you're in a second of all time, category. So if he doesn't and they don't make it back again, he's going to be below that tier. So that's big. Andy Reid is,
and if he does it 3 times in a row,
yep,
they're probably going to automatically put him against over Montana, which means he's then now coming towards Tom Brady.
Yeah, so
I would say the average person.
Yeah, so you're in prestigious. If you don't win it,
yeah,
it's a big difference. But you've got, like you said it well. Saquon Barkley, think about him and his status if he wins it. Think about Jalen Hurts. All of a sudden, well, I don't know if he can. How good is he? This about. It all goes away if you win. I want to ask you this. If Andy Reid does win,
yes,
where does he stand all time, would you say, as coaches?
Personally?
In NFL history. Yeah.
Oh, man. It would be hard for me not to argue he's the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
I just, for me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did with the Eagles, he never officially won.
No.
But I think they made 4 or 5 NFC championships in a row.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do.
Absolutely.
And he's been a quarterback whisperer his whole career.
Yeah.
And I just, man, the guy has really proven himself at 2 very historic, great organizations. And I just think it's going to be really hard to argue that he's not. I mean, you could sit there and say it's Bill Belichick. That I would say, man, I guess Bill's got more Super Bowls. But Andy's got 1 from Green Bay. So what would that be? If he wins this one, he would have 5, and Bill's got 6. Is that right?
No, I know Andy Reid's been to 5 NFC championship games. Just NFC.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you take AFC. Let me see here how many AFC. He's 6 consecutive AFCs. So he's been 11 times. And so the difference between him, when I look at him and Belichick, it's not always about winning. You do want to win, and that does help, but fortune sometimes helps.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's been 11 times. He's made the playoffs, 18 appearances. To me, he's been incredible, but he's done it with multiple quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Even Alex Smith, who was a decent quarterback, they made it far in the playoffs with Alex Smith. And then it was a young Patrick Mahomes. And he's had with the Eagles, would you say it was like 4 or 5 times in a row?
4 or 5 times in a row. Yeah.
I mean, that's Donovan McNabb, and company. So I would put Andy Reid number 1. If he wins, I'd put him above, because Belichick did it all with Brady.
I think why I would put him number 1. Okay, ready for this? Because I think this would make sense for most people at home. Okay.
Yeah.
Why I would put him number 1. The one thing that Bill didn't do in his time as the Patriots head coach is he didn't transition and stay relevant as a coordinator mind. Okay. Mm-hmm. The one thing Andy Reid has done is he stayed relevant as one of the best offensive geniuses in the NFL.
Sure.
For what, 30 years now?
Yeah.
It's got to be close to 30, right?
Yeah.
Because he was coaching in the 2000s for the Green Bay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got to be close to 30 years that the guy has stayed relevant as an offensive mind.
Yeah.
That's insane.